Always true.
We ask the questions.
What is needed in the world?
Is that going to
I'm Andrew Simmons at Hamad International Airport in Doha. The Gulf crisis and the actions of Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Bahrain and their allies is being absorbed by the government here, the people and business with some resilience. But there's no escaping the fact that damage is being done. Qatar Airways is one of the biggest victims in all of this, and it's just announced profits, record profits, 22% increases year on year. But it fears dark days ahead. Akbar Al-Bakr, the Chief Executive Officer of Qatar Airways, talks to Al Jazeera. Welcome to Talk to Al Jazeera, Your Excellency. Now let's get straight to it. Firstly, congratulations on those financial results, but it must be something of a bittersweet taste with all that's been going on this past week, not just here in Qatar, but for the whole region, the effects. What do you think the level of seriousness is in this whole crisis?
On a positive note, let me to say that I'm delighted to announce Qatar Airways profit of $541 million. It is a record profit in the history of our airline, and at the same time we have also had a robust passenger number growth, 20.01% increase year on year, which again is one of the strongest growth figure in our industry. So we are very resilient as an airline. However, I do agree that there are some dark clouds, and I should not be hiding my concern that yes, we will underperform, but not to the extent of our neighbors, because Qatar Airways has a very strong growth plan. You know that not too long ago I announced that I was going to increase 24 new destinations. I couldn't do it because I had capacity restraint. Now that we have released capacity from the 18 destinations that we have been barred illegally from operating, we are now going to accelerate the other regions of the world where we feel that we will mitigate the reduction in passenger numbers from these 18 destinations. So Qatar Airways has a robust plan B to continue our march ahead.
Tell me this, let's just look back first of all. Let's start chronologically. Back to June the 5th, Monday morning, you were in Cancun, Mexico, major aviation conference. Word came through, I think you were quite late to hear, or a few minutes went by before you heard. And you heard, what was it like? What was going through your head as you boarded that executive jet to fly straight back to Qatar?
Well, you know, this is the last thing any CEO of an airline would want to hear, that the airspace in which it operates, international airspace in which it operates, has illegally been blocked. It was very difficult for me to find a way to come here quickly, but I did, because this is a call of duty for me to be in my country at such a time where there is countries around our region has ganged up against my nation and made land, sea and air blockade, which is unprecedented in the history of any country at time of peace, that such blockade is conducted.
That's what I want to pick up on. We've heard of air wars. This transcends everything. Do you feel that in effect you're under attack? In fact, Qatar is under attack, being held to ransom, almost like being in a real war with an attempted siege going on.
You know, Qatar is very resilient, and Qatar also has friends, and we have managed to make sure that life will continue as normal. For an airline, for us, the biggest priority is for us to have a gateway in and out of my country, which we are very successfully handling, and at the same time it is our passengers for which it is our responsibility, first to reroute them, second to give them a full refund if they chose to do so, and thirdly, that if they choose to travel on Qatar Airways, that we give them the highest amount of care that we give to our passengers. Qatar Airways is very strong financially. We will persevere, and at the same time we will make sure that every single passenger is guaranteed that if it chose after booking on Qatar Airways not to travel on Qatar Airways, we will give them their refund, so they don't have any at all risk of losing the money that they have invested in Qatar Airways. But let me tell you something, that as we are being affected, so our neighbors who have got into this illegal act in blocking us, their national carriers are also getting affected. What is also doing is letting the entire region's air connectivity confidence to be lost. So they are in the same basket. So they should not think that they'll be going laughing to the bank whilst they are putting economic pain on my country.
Now, I came across this pie chart. It's not exactly high tech, but as you can see here, this is a market share pie of the market in the region, and you're up to 69% of it. 69% of it obviously dominating that market. So there's a lot at stake, isn't there?
Well, yes, it is a lot at stake when from this market size you are removing 18 destinations that we have been blocked from flying to. So yes, there will be an impact, but that impact will be mitigated when we go to new destinations as part of the growth strategy of Qatar Airways.
Let's just refer now to our social media team. They are on the case all the time, and they're getting a lot of inquiries, a lot of confusion, in fact, about just how the airspace works around Qatar, because Bahrain seems to have it all when you look at the map, but then there's this low altitude arrangement you've got. Please, can you explain to it?
Let me explain to you. Yes, Bahrain and the UAE have illegally blocked their airspace. The airspace that they have blocked does not belong to them. It belongs to the international community. It has been given to them, the Flight Information Region, which is called FIR, which is by International Civil Aviation Organization. These countries have signed the Chicago Convention, in which they have agreed to comply with the Air Services Transit Agreement. So they are in violation of Article 1, Section 1 of that convention, and they are also disregarding an airspace that had been provided to them by a UN body to administer for the purpose of international air transport facilitation and safety. So they do not have the right to blockade this. However, blocking this has, we have another channel to go out. It is over the Qatar airspace into Iran, and as it is, we were operating our flights, many of our flights over the same airspace in Iran, and we continue to do so, only that we have to have a detour. So all the acts that they are doing is illegal, and it is a travesty of civilized behavior conducting international business.
Tell me, what about Iran in all of this? Your flights are bringing in food from there and also from Turkey as we speak. A country you want to do more business with, Tehran?
You know, we have friends, and Qatar Airways will fly over these friendly territories. And of course, it is my job, because I am the gateway when there is a blockade to the outside world, and we have been successful. Both the Ministry of Transport have been successful transporting goods over the sea, and Qatar Airways has been successful in transporting goods by air. And as you can see, you are living in Qatar, that all those rumors about food shortages and food queues is false. It is misinformation, and Qatar Airways will continue to operate, and the state of Qatar will continue to rely on its friends, because a friend can only be your friend when you require their services.
Do you think that there's a jealousy towards Qatar shown in this region, that in fact they're jealous of the wealth, the super wealth of this tiny country and an airline like yours? Not only that, could there be a commercial motivation as well as a political one in what's happening?
There is a political motivation, because the state of Qatar is always in the forefront of solving problems in our region, trying to bring look at things in a very stable manner. Qatar is also taking high-profile political initiatives, and this is creating jealousy. Actually, they want Qatar to coax them into their sphere of influence. They want Qatar sovereignty to be under their control, and I don't think state of Qatar will agree to relinquish our foreign policy and our sovereignty in the hand of anybody. Of course, I should not get into this answering this question because I'm not a politician, and I would like to stick to the impact that all this is making in my airline.
I realise that you're in business, not politics, but if you don't mind me saying, you do know the psyche of this country. You're a very accomplished man to give a view on this. So what's your view on Donald Trump and Saudi Arabia and its allies? Do they have a point when they accuse Qatar of meddling in their affairs, funding some terror groups?
You know, when you live in a glass house, you should not be throwing stones. So I don't want to get into that. But one thing I can say that I'm very disappointed in the leadership of United States.
But Donald Trump, I understand, is a friend of yours and had been a friend of yours. Or you did actually once say that Donald Trump was in some ways justified to politically.
How can I call him my friend?
Well, it'd be pretty hard now.
How can I call him my friend when he is standing on the other side against my country unfairly?
But you, I understand, did consider yourself to be an associate of his.
I did.
When did that relationship end?
When it was only relating to American politics. But I cannot remain anybody's friend if somebody is standing on the other side of the fence against my nation.
So the feeling must be pretty raw right now.
It's extremely raw, yes.
Because you did actually once say, well, look, give him a chance. He was on the campaign trail. You said, give him a chance with this call for Muslims. You thought he was trying to just attract the extreme right on that.
Yes, I did.
You sort of gave him the chance. But when did that relationship come to an end?
Well,
during this crisis?
Exactly. When you stand up against my country, what do you expect? My loyalty is to my country, not to any other individual.
Where do you think it leads? Because the US has been putting out
individuals have climbed on a tree which is very tall, and now to get down from this tree, they will be injured. My country will persevere.
This is not a situation that's going to be over quickly, is it?
We have taken a moral high ground. We have not acted in the way others have acted. Emiratis, Saudis, Egyptians can live here peacefully. Emirates, Etihad, Saudi Arabian Airlines, Egypt Air, they can operate their offices openly. They can bring in and transfer money out normally. So we are taking the moral high ground because the country has very wise leadership.
Setting all the corporate and the political backdrop to this interview aside, please tell me, what's in your heart right now when you see families that are separated by what's going on?
I am very bitter about it. Not because only what they did, but also the way they did it. To seal Qatar Airways offices with large stickers as if we are, a money laundering business or we are a drug agency, kicking people out of our offices, detaining our manager, not allowing us to give refunds to our passengers, not allowing even our staff to take personal effects. And on the other hand, we are going to stand by our staff in those countries. They will continue to receive their remuneration. We will always help them in any way. So you can see how the other sides are operating and how we, with the wise political leadership in this country, we have instructions of how we have to behave. When our citizens were kicked out from those countries, we provided them free passage even when they were holding Emirates and other airlines tickets. We have to honor human beings at the time of need, and a need that has been created by them, not by us.
Do you get the feeling, though, that this is not going to be over quickly? Even there could be some sticking plaster put on it. There could be some sort of maybe semi-agreement, but there's a deep hatred out there.
When you split families, when you split loved ones, when you have to remove your children from schools, when you have to block your funds that you need to repatriate for your family that are on the other side are of needs. Do you think these people will forget? This is a wound that has been created for a generation. This will never be forgotten. I'm not a politician. Again, there are certain of parts of this question should be answered by the political echelons of my country. But one thing I can tell you, regardless if it lasts less or long, the wound has already been very deep, and people will not forget.
Does it concern you, though, that we're looking now at this thing building and building in the media, these allegations building, the suggestions that Qatar is a sponsor? Yeah, but the media is
always biased.
Consumers, but your consumers take that information.
Media is biased.
As a businessman,
it is my duty now to make sure that we get the correct messages. And when you also block the websites of the airline, so the airline cannot even give a normal message to a passenger.
You can't connect, can you? No.
You cannot connect. So we have other channels which we are pursuing to give the message to our customers, to our passengers, and to our staff that we are here to stay, and we will support them.
What measures are you taking there then? What is it?
I don't want to tell you what measures we are taking, but we are taking very aggressive measures.
But I want to just touch on this, because whatever message is going out, whether it's biased or otherwise, your customers take in media, the consumers take in media, and a lot of it is toxic towards Qatar. Do you not, surely as a businessman, fear now that your brand could be slightly toxic?
In this internet age, people are not ignorant. I think your view on this is misplaced.
That's not my view. I'm referring to questions.
Let me tell you that there is
it's just a journalistic question, sir.
There is a huge international sympathy by people on the state of Qatar. Everybody knows that Qatar is being bullied, but their opinion is misplaced. Qatar will never get bullied by anybody, and I'm glad that more and more people are now coming on the side of Qatar because of this illegal act imposed on my country.
And the measures you've seen taken against people, really, such as laws passed both now in UAE and Saudi Arabia, which could put someone in jail for between 3 and 15 years for just supporting Qatar in any given field. Were you shocked by that?
As a person, yes, I am. You know, in Europe, if you commit a murder, you get a life sentence that is only 10 years. And you know, just to talk about a country and tend to go 15 years in jail. Don't think that it is misuse of your power and the laws that you are supposed to implement fairly on your subjects?
And on this subject, and once again to do with the crisis, sadly, your famous Barca T-shirt, the Barcelona FC T-shirt with the recognised Qatar Airways logo on it, seeing that smudged out on billboards in United Arab Emirates. I mean,
Can you imagine this? Can you imagine somebody bringing sports into a political broil, blocking Qatar's name from the T-shirts? I mean, this is really an unprecedented action being taken by people that shows, that they have absolute disregard.
I'm going to change gear a little bit now. Why is your sponsorship ending of Barcelona? Was it you who pulled out, or was it the team?
No, we pulled out because
I follow football normally.
we pulled out because we will only put so much cash on the table. We are not a bank. We are an airline.
The World Cup. We've just heard that the president of FIFA is saying that the World Cup will be on 2022 here in Qatar. More and more moves from Qatar Airways to associate itself with this big event. You are now official sponsors,
yes.
I gather. So tell me, the World Cup, are you convinced that given the backdrop we have now and the possibility that this could get worse before it gets better, that you will definitely be there cheering your team on?
Sports is over politics. I'm sure that 2022 will be conducted in my country, and I assure you that it will be the best FIFA tournament taken place ever in this world. Similarly, when we launched IATA AGM here, people still talk about it, because in Qatar we are always doing our job to the best.
Tell me something about how the business is going with FIFA, because you now are officially a member of FIFA, aren't you, as a company, as an entity?
Yes.
How's this all gone? I mean,
Yes,
the world
up
of
to- up-
football, you've
up to
dealt
now-
with the world of aviation, and now you're in the world of football.
We
How's that all
have
going?
just launched our sponsorship of FIFA. It is in its infancy, and yes, we will start reflecting our association with FIFA in the coming months in a very strong way.
Sitting here now, and I'm assuming you're celebrating your incredible results, very good financial results, it must be a rather surreal feeling that here you are at this time with this effectively a siege going on around your country.
We will celebrate again a good profit next year by the will of God.
How are you going to actually tackle this then?
Because we will grow into new markets. You know, when we withdrew from one destination, for example, we didn't close the airline down. We looked at 5 more new destinations, and this is exactly what we are doing.
If you don't mind me saying, though, you aren't giving a lot of data about what sort of losses you're making.
No, because this is in its infancy. You know, I don't want to tell you my losses because it just is 1 week old. If I made a loss at the end of the year, I will tell you I lost, and I will give you the reasons why I lost. But just give me some time. So I don't want to tell you a loss and, you know, raise an alarm, whilst I am finding, as a businessman and as a CEO of Qatar Airways, other business opportunities where I will mitigate these losses that I'm having in the destinations that I had to withdraw from. You know, the world is not only these 4 countries.
Can you actually give me an idea of what feedback you're getting from your staff about all this? Because you're a man known to be connected
On the
to
3rd day
your
of
staff.
this conflict, I sent a personal note to every single individual in the organization that I handle to give them commitment and to give them confidence. And this was taken very positively by my staff.
Do you think that they've handled it well? I mean, there must have been a lot of stress on everyone with so many people in a very confused state, and some of them a very angry state.
Yes, there will be uncertainty, there will be confusion, there will be some doubts in the people, but you know, as the head of this airline, it is my duty to let them to get confidence in the company that they are working for.
And looking at this now, when you look back at the situation when you took over in 1997, there were, what was it now? I'm just looking at the figure here, 4 aircraft, was it? 4
5.
aircraft, 5. And now 196, is that the figure? 198? I'm not sure how.
Actually, it is.
No, that was 2015.
Actually, it is 206 to be precise.
206 now.
Yes.
An extraordinary thing that you must be proud of. Do you not now really fear that it could all start going the other way because of politics?
No, I disagree. It will actually continue to grow. And I'm sure, like I told you, that if I make a loss next year, I will tell you. At the same time, I will also tell you how many more aircraft we have next year than what we had this year.
Trying to look ahead, which you must be good at, you wouldn't have got this far otherwise. Do you really think that this crisis is going to be resolved peacefully and clearly and simply, or not?
I can only say one thing, that at the end, stable minds will prevail, and the international community will not allow this to escalate.
And in your heart, again, that question, a personal feeling on it?
Yes. Qatar will persevere.
Akbar Al-Bakr, CEO of Qatar Airways Group, thank you for talking to Al Jazeera.